In this presentation, we will explore the myth of the Fountain of Youth. For as long as humans have understood that life ends, we have dreamed of making it last forever. The Fountain of Youth, a spring whose waters grant eternal life, or at least restore the vitality of youth, is one of humanity's most enduring legends. But where did this myth come from? And why has it captivated us for thousands of years? The story most Americans know begins with a Spanish conquistador named Juan Ponce de León. In 1513, he sailed from Puerto Rico to explore new lands, eventually landing on the coast of what is now Florida. According to popular legend, Ponce de León was searching for the Fountain of Youth, a magical spring that indigenous people had told him about. But here's the truth. Ponce de León probably wasn't looking for any fountain. This romantic notion was added to his story decades after his death, likely by a Spanish historian named Gonzalo Fernández de Oviedo, who had his own reasons for embellishing the tale. Oviedo wanted to make Ponce de León look foolish, painting him as a vain old man chasing fairy tales instead of a serious explorer claiming land for Spain. The real Ponce de León was searching for gold, slaves, and territory, the same things that motivated most conquistadors. But the myth stuck, and Florida became forever associated with the quest for eternal youth. Yet the Fountain of Youth legend is far older than Ponce de León, far older than European exploration of the Americas. The concept of rejuvenating waters appears in stories from ancient Mesopotamia, where the Epic of Gilgamesh, written nearly 4,000 years ago, tells of a plant that restores youth. Gilgamesh finds this plant at the bottom of the sea, but a serpent steals it before he can use it. In ancient Greece, the historian Herodotus wrote about a fountain in the land of the Macrobians, in what is now Ethiopia. According to his account, the people there lived to be 120 years old because they bathed in special waters that made their skin glisten like oil and gave off the scent of violets. Alexander the Great supposedly searched for a river of paradise that could restore life. Medieval European legends spoke of the river of life in the Garden of Eden. In Islamic tradition, the water of life appears in stories about the prophet Khidr, who drank from a spring and became immortal. These stories share common elements: water with magical properties, hidden in remote or sacred locations, guarded by supernatural forces or difficult to reach. They reflect a universal human anxiety about aging and death, and an equally universal hope that somewhere, somehow, there might be a way to escape our mortality. But why water? Why is the Fountain of Youth always a spring or river, never a mountain or a tree or a stone? Water is life. Every ancient civilization knew this. Crops need water. Animals need water. Humans need water. Without it, we die within days. Water cleanses, refreshes, and sustains us. It's no wonder that our ancestors imagined that the right kind of water, purer, more sacred, more powerful, might do more than just sustain life. It might extend it indefinitely. Water also has transformative properties that ancient people could observe. Seeds that look dead spring to life when watered. Bathing in certain mineral springs really did seem to help with various ailments. Hot springs could soothe aching joints. The connection between water and healing was real, even if the leap to immortality was fantasy. As European explorers ventured into the Americas, they encountered indigenous peoples who told them about sacred springs and healing waters. The Taino people of the Caribbean had stories about a land called Bimini, where there was a spring with restorative powers. When Spanish explorers heard these stories, they filtered them through their own cultural lens, their own legends of magical waters, and the Fountain of Youth myth was reborn in the New World. The search for the fountain became intertwined with the broader European exploration and colonization of the Americas. Expeditions that were really about gold and conquest were sometimes justified or romanticized as quests for the fountain. Maps from the 16th and 17th centuries sometimes marked the location of the Fountain of Youth, usually placing it just beyond the edge of explored territory, always tantalizingly out of reach. In St. Augustine, Florida, there's a tourist attraction called the Fountain of Youth Archaeological Park. It claims to be the site where Ponce de León landed, though historians dispute this. Visitors can drink from a spring that the park calls the Fountain of Youth. The water tastes strongly of sulfur, not exactly the nectar of immortality, but it makes for a good story and a memorable vacation photo. The truth is, the Fountain of Youth was never in Florida, or Bimini, or Ethiopia, or anywhere else on Earth. But that hasn't stopped people from looking. In the 20th and 21st centuries, the search for the fountain of youth has moved from geography to biology. We're no longer exploring uncharted islands. We're exploring the human genome, studying cellular processes, trying to understand why we age and whether we can slow or stop it. Scientists have discovered that aging isn't just wear and tear. It's a biological process with specific mechanisms. Our cells can only divide a certain number of times before they stop, a limit called the Hayflick limit. The protective caps on our chromosomes, called telomeres, get shorter each time a cell divides, like a fuse burning down. When telomeres get too short, cells can no longer divide, and they either die or become senescent, alive but no longer functioning properly. Some researchers are working on ways to lengthen telomeres or prevent them from shortening. Others are studying animals that seem to age very slowly or not at all. The naked mole rat can live more than 30 years, extraordinary for a rodent, and rarely gets cancer. The Greenland shark can live for over 400 years. The immortal jellyfish, Turritopsis dohrnii, can actually reverse its aging process, transforming back into a juvenile form after reaching maturity. If these creatures can do it, why can't we? There are scientists working on senolytics, drugs that selectively destroy senescent cells, potentially slowing aging. Others are researching caloric restriction, which has been shown to extend lifespan in many organisms. There's interest in compounds like resveratrol, found in red wine, and metformin, a diabetes drug that some believe might have anti-aging properties. Silicon Valley billionaires are pouring money into longevity research. Some are trying young blood transfusions, based on studies showing that when old mice are given blood from young mice, they show signs of rejuvenation. Others are exploring cryonics, freezing their bodies after death in hopes that future technology will be able to revive them. The modern search for the fountain of youth is more sophisticated than Ponce de Leon's alleged quest, but it's driven by the same fundamental desire. We don't want to die, and we don't want to grow old. But should we want to live forever? This is where the fountain of youth legend becomes more than just a story about exploration or science. It becomes a philosophical question. Many versions of the fountain of youth story include a warning. In some tales, those who drink from the fountain become immortal, but not eternally young. They continue aging forever, unable to die, trapped in increasingly decrepit bodies. In others, immortality comes with a curse, watching everyone you love grow old and die while you remain unchanged, century after century, alone. These cautionary elements suggest that our ancestors understood something important. Death gives life meaning. If we had infinite time, would anything matter? Would we appreciate the beauty of a sunset if we knew we'd see infinite sunsets? Would we cherish our relationships if we knew they'd never end? The fountain of youth represents our fear of death, but also our fear of meaninglessness. We want more time, but we also want the time we have to count. Perhaps the real fountain of youth isn't a place or a drug or a genetic therapy. Perhaps it's a mindset, staying curious, staying engaged, continuing to learn and grow and connect with others. These things keep us young in the ways that matter most. There's a reason the fountain of youth legend has persisted for thousands of years across countless cultures. It speaks to something deep in the human experience. We are the only animals that know we're going to die, and that knowledge shapes everything about how we live. The search for the fountain of youth is really a search for hope. Hope that death isn't final, that aging isn't inevitable, that we have more control over our fate than we sometimes feel we do. We haven't found the fountain of youth. We probably never will, at least not in the form the legends describe. But in searching for it, we've explored the world, pushed the boundaries of science, and asked profound questions about what it means to be human. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the fountain of youth was never meant to be found. Maybe the search itself, the hope, the curiosity, the refusal to accept our limitations, is what keeps us young.